Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're zeroing in on a company that's become, well, a household name, famous for its unique footwear, Crocs. Many of you have asked us to look at this particular stock. So our mission today is to answer the question, is Crocs a good time to buy now? We've gathered insights from recent analyst reports, SEC filings, technical charts, really trying to give you a comprehensive overview. Before we jump into the details, remember to hit that subscribe button, like this analysis, and leave a comment below. And, if there's another company you'd like us to analyze in a future discussion, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, it's a fascinating company, definitely. A distinctive brand, that's for sure. We'll be exploring everything from its recent financial performance to upcoming market catalysts and, of course, potential risks, all to help you form your own view.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The last 3 months, what's been happening with Crocs?
Right, so starting with September 2025, we saw some signs of institutional confidence in tech investment management acquired shares. And Needham & Company, they raised their price target from $89 up to $100. Importantly, they kept that buy rating.
Okay, buy rating, $100 target. But the shares themselves?
They did fluctuate a bit, yeah, between $77.21 and $80.65, roughly. But the average analyst target remained pretty bullish, sitting around $105.18. So there's still optimism there.
That sounds promising. What about going back a bit further into August?
August was interesting. On the 7th, Crocs reported a strong Q2 earnings beat. EPS came in at $4.23, which was like $0.22 above what analysts expected, and revenue grew 3.4% year over year. A lot of that growth really came from the core Crocs brand itself.
Okay, so the main brand is powering things. Anything else in August?
Well, yeah, they did that unique Krispy Kreme collaboration launched on August 5th that actually got quite a bit of media attention, surprisingly, maybe.
Krispy Kreme Crocs, huh? I saw those.
Yeah. And several analysts, KeyCorp, Barclays, Bank of America, they adjusted their price targets afterwards, generally kept their buy or overweight ratings, signaled, let's say, cautious optimism.
In July. Any early indicators there that set the stage?
July 2025, we got the solid full-year 2024 financial results. Revenue was up 3.53%, earnings improved almost 20%, 19.87% to be exact. But, and this is important, management flagged a potential revenue decline for Q3, somewhere in the 9 to 11% range.
Ooh, okay, so strong past results, but a warning about the near future. That causes concern.
Exactly. It creates some uncertainty. On a more positive note, they launched their Step Up to Greatness platform with UNICEF, Good Community Impact Initiative. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Digging into the numbers for July, the HeyYDDE brand segment revenue actually declined 3.9%.
HeyYDDE. That's the big acquisition, right? Declining while the core brand does well international.
Precisely. It puts a real spotlight on their brand portfolio strategy and how well that integration is going.
Okay, so we've seen the recent ups and downs, the HeyYDDE friction. Let's zoom out. Beyond the headlines, what does the fundamental financial health of Crocs look like?
Right. Connecting this to the bigger picture, fiscal year 2025 revenue was $4.02 billion. That's up slightly from $3.96 billion in 2024. So about 1.5% year-over-year growth. It's slower, for sure, but still positive growth in what's been a tough consumer environment.
And margins. That's always key in footwear and apparel.
Absolutely. Gross margin stayed stable at 54.1%. That's pretty healthy. It's partly thanks to their direct-to-consumer mix and keeping costs under control. Net income was $660.8 million, a slight dip from 2024. Diluted EPS at $11.05. And looking ahead to 2026, management's guiding for low single-digit revenue growth, maybe 1.4%, and they expect margins to stay above 53%.
Well, long-term debt as of June 30, 2025 was $1.79 billion. That puts their debt-to-EBITDA ratio at about 2.3x. Now, that is an improvement since the acquisition?
But still maybe a little higher than peers. Yeah, it's still above the industry median, you're right. But they do have decent cash on hand, about $312 million. And they generated strong free cash flow in 2025, around $313 million. That's key because it supports paying down that debt and buying back shares.
So manageable debt, strong cash flow. How does this position Crocs competitively? What's their edge?
Look, they are a clear leader in molded casual footwear, globally recognized brands. They basically own the clog and foam casual space. And those Jibbitz charms, That customization is high-margin genius, frankly.
Yeah, the gibbets seem like a constant revenue stream.
Totally. Plus, their direct-to-consumer platform is strong, 41% of 2025 revenue. That gives them control, better margins, and they have significant brand loyalty, especially with Gen Z and millennials. But there are risks. Fashion is fickle, right? Cyclicality is always there.
Copycats, too, I imagine.
Definitely. Copycats are a constant threat, and supply chain concentration over 70% from Vietnam. That's a risk point. What's fascinating, though, is how resilient the brand has been against these factors, year after year.
Okay, solid fundamentals, strong brand but known risks. Let's shift gears to the charts. What are the technical indicators telling us about Crocs price action right now?
Technically speaking, Crocs has been trading in a range recently, call it $73 to $89 over the last month or so. As of September 5th, the price was $86.45. Key support seems to be in that $74, $76 zone.
And resistance, where might it struggle to break higher?
Resistance looks like it's around the 89, 91, 1 level. Year-to-date, performance is kind of flat, maybe up 4%. It's moderately underperforming the broader consumer discretionary index.
Flat overall, but what about momentum? Any signs of life recently? And volatility?
Ah, yes. Actually, shares recently broke above both their 50-day moving average, which is around $79.80, and their 200-day, around $83.50. That's generally seen as a short-term bullish signal, suggests building momentum.
Okay, breaking key averages is positive. What else?
The 14-day RSI, that's a momentum oscillator, is at 64. It's approaching that overbought territory, maybe, but not extremely so. Still room, potentially. And the MCD indicator also shows a positive widening spread, confirming that momentum. Now, volatility, its beta is 1.6.
Meaning it moves more than the overall market.
Exactly. 60% more volatile than the market average, so expect bigger swings up and down.
That's a good picture of the charts. Short-term bullish momentum, but higher volatility. What about recent news and just the general market feeling, the sentiment around Crocs?
Well, that Q2 earnings beat definitely boosted sentiment. You saw analysts like Morgan Stanley, Bank of America reiterate overweight or buy ratings. The consensus 12-month price target is hovering around $105, though the range is pretty wide, $93 up to $120. Management's also been talking up progress with HYDD's expansion in Europe and through direct channels, trying to reassure folks even if growth was a bit slower than hoped initially.
Right, and here's something that often gets investors really interested: insider activity. Have executives been buying or selling?
Absolutely, and this is quite telling. August 2025 saw multiple insider purchases. Susan Healy, the CFO, bought 2,000 shares, around $76.56 on August 12th, and a director, John Replogle, also bought over 3,000 shares, around $76.50 on average, back on August 8th.
Insider buying. That usually signals strong internal confidence, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It suggests management thinks the stock is undervalued. And, generally, social sentiment seems constructive post-earnings. Retail investors point to the valuation, the buybacks as positives.
Okay, positive sentiment, insider buys. Looking ahead now, what are the key events, the potential catalysts, or the bumps in the road for Crocs?
This raises an important question for timing, doesn't it? Over the next 3 months, several key dates. Q3 earnings are due October 28th. That's huge, especially given the cautious guidance. Will they beat it? October 31st, you have major ETF and index rebalancing. That can sometimes move stocks just based on fund flows.
And the holidays are crucial for retail.
Definitely. November 29th, we'll start seeing holiday retail performance reports, Black Friday results specifically. That's a real-time demand check. Then in December, we get the 13F filings showing what big institutions were doing in Q3. Looking further out, preliminary Q4 earnings probably around January 28th, 2026.
Are there any longer-term opportunities or maybe more speculative things we should be aware of? Rumors, potential deals?
Longer term, the big drivers are geographic expansion, especially EMEA and APAC, where Crocs still has room to grow, and continuing to pay down that debt. Management wants that leverage ratio below 2x by the end of fiscal 26. As for speculation, well, there's always chatter, maybe some kind of strategic move, an acquisition perhaps to help the hey, why do DE segment.
Interesting, or maybe partnerships?
Could be international distribution deals, maybe in Southeast Asia. Talk of a new celebrity collaboration for the holidays always surfaces. And given the rising short interest, if earnings or holiday sales really surprise positively, you could maybe even see a short squeeze scenario play out.
A short squeeze possibility adds some spice. But let's be balanced. With all these moving parts, what are the primary risks facing Crocs?
Right, you have to weigh the risks. Stock-specific ones, that supply chain concentration in Vietnam is a big one. Geopolitics, weather, anything could disrupt it. Brand and fashion, cyclicality, it's always there. Tastes change. And execution risk with AFIDD. It hasn't quite met expectations yet. They need to get that right.
And broader market risks.
Yeah, high exposure to consumer discretionary spending. If interest rates stay high or inflation bites, people cut back on non-essentials. That hurts. Plus, the footwear sector itself, low barriers to entry, really, and trends shift fast. Lots of competition.
Okay, so we've covered recent performance, financials, technicals, catalysts, risks. Let's bring it all together. What does this all mean for you? What's the final investment thesis for Crocs?
Overall, if I had to put a number on it, maybe a 7.5 out of 10 investment rating. The company's still a leader in its niche, strong direct-to-consumer sales, those resilient margins, good free cash flow, that's all positive. Shares look, well, modestly valued, forward PE around 8x based on 2026 estimates. And that insider buying is a clear positive signal.
But short-term versus long-term.
Exactly. Short-term, maybe upside is a bit capped near that 91 bell resistance. The RSI suggests it might need to pause or pull back slightly, but long-term, it looks like a compelling opportunity, particularly if you see dips below $80 maybe. However, execution on that international growth and getting the debt down, those are crucial, imperative, really. And given the volatility, it probably suits a longer-term holder better.
So it's this blend, strong fundamentals, catalysts coming up, but also that hey, you, why, DUD question mark and the market volatility. The question for you is, how do you weigh that immediate potential, maybe some tactical gains, against the longer-term growth story? And what level of that short-term volatility are you comfortable with for what could be a compelling long-term opportunity as Crocs tries to expand globally, pay down debt, and sort out hey, you, why, DDE? That's something for you to consider.